another episode of The Lofty Lender. Today, I am joined by my teammate, Charlie. Charlie has been a licensed mortgage loan originator for nearly 20 years with previous experience in accounting and financial advising. He is a proud alumnus of Simpson College and a member of the Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity. Outside of the office, Charlie is a dedicated husband, dad, and community member. He takes pride in supporting the various activities his kids are involved in. His favorite space at home is his garage or his tiny backyard. He looks for any excuse to play a few rounds of golf for business or for fun, and he doesn't exercise. Oh, wait, I threw that in there. Giving back to his community is a huge part of who he is. Charlie's always looking for ways to build up his community and enjoys working or using his network to bring people together. He currently serves as the president of the CBC. Is that still the case?
No, I need to change that one. Just got
Oh,
somebody else to take the reins.
there you go. He's a member of Hope Lutheran Church and is an active board member with the Waveland Park Neighborhood Association. So, Charlie actually brought me in back in 2019. That's when I started here, and it was actually back in 2014. I had to think about this earlier. It was back in 2014 when I was working at Wells Fargo, and I had a boss who told me that her dad was a realtor. And when I said that I wanted to go looking for houses, she told me to go talk to her dad. Her dad was kind of a part-time realtor at the time. He's now full-time, but he had worked for Waterworks for 40 plus years at that point. And he said, well, you got to get pre-approved first. So I came in and I remember sitting down and going over all my numbers with Charlie. I remember pulling up the spreadsheet. I remember getting into budgeting. I was like, whoa, what world do you live on? What kind of job is this? This looks so cool. I sit in a desk all day and you're out here like you have liberties and freedoms and luxuries and what is this? So I kind of just stayed in touch with Charlie throughout that point. He helped me close my mortgage. I refinanced a couple years later and learned how the business works with an assistant, which was Curvin at the time. And then I just kind of said I want to eventually start working with you. So hopped out of Wells Fargo, went to Midwest Heritage for a hot second, and then we went to Vegas together. And I said I think I need to get a few years maybe before I leave because I need to have an agent relationship, somebody that will work with me before I go 100% commission. And you said, nah, just come on over. And I listened for some odd reason. And we had just had our first kid like 8 months before that. And I did it. And I'm really glad I did. So thank you. It was
You
good.
betcha. It's good to have you.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, welcome to the show. First off, we're going to hop into business and beyond segment. So tell me, what got you into mortgage? That I just gave you the story on how I got into working with you. What got you into mortgage in general?
Just happy luck, dumb luck. I had actually grown up with a banker dad in a small town, said I would never do that type of work, just because, yeah, that's what you grow up with. You say you're not going to do what your parents do. But went to school. I like the numbers. I don't like words. They're hard. Got a job. Didn't really like it. It was okay. Accounting was fine. I enjoyed the financial advisory stuff I had right after school, but I really got into it because the job I wanted some banking experience. So I actually went to work for my dad's old secretary, who was the bank manager, which that was actually kind of fun to have that life circle. I'd known her since I was really little. And I ended up doing lending with the bank. And that was something fine, just check the box to get the future job. And I actually really enjoyed not necessarily the lending part, but helping people, like you mentioned, with the budget and understand how the system works. It's not common sense. And so getting people to be more financially comfortable and confident, it just tripped my trigger. It tripped my trigger every time to get people so they didn't hate their budget and hate the things that they're just not comfortable with, which most people don't like to look at their own funds and budget and know where it's at. So that's what got me into it. And I had a buddy who'd pushed me for years to come work with him. And I'd always said, nope, because it was a full commission jump. Just like you said, it took me about 4 years. And then I actually started a commercial lending company with him and did some residential stuff on the side just to pay the bills. Commercial's a lot longer time span than home lending. So, and the commercial was fine. It was a small business commercial, but I really enjoy the cash flow, budget analysis stuff, and getting people on the right track. So a lot of small and medium business owners, but then the residential side was the easy access point that everybody needs, and it's a lot of fun.
And then you decided the compliance was just getting to be too much, and that's why you decided to come on over here then?
Yeah, so Mark and I had our company, and then he moved out to Colorado, so it was just me. And when the big crash happened, the real estate crash, then I either had to get smaller, so less other people to be compliant for, and just myself, or get bigger and higher. And I wasn't ready to bring on two or three staff people. And so I had met Chuck, the owner of Midwest Family, by complete accident, one of the appraisers that I used. And I had interviewed at five, six different places and did not like any of them. Banks, credit unions, other brokers. It just didn't like the mix. And so Chuck and I hit it off right off the bat. Very optimistic, but very cautious with funds. And so I said it'd be a temporary deal at Midwest Family until I could open my own business again. I like the group. I like how we put our heads together. It's not a competitive environment for, I'm going to take your loans because I took the phone call. We really help each other, and just I think it has much better results for all of our partners and our customers because of the way our office works.
So do you remember your first ever hire then, since you didn't bring people on? Did you have people working for you when you were working, when you guys had your own shop, or when did you
Everybody
first have a...
was, yeah, no, everybody was loan officer and just 1099 back then. And so I had people who helped me out with things, but it was basically them learning. So I truly didn't have any assistants back then or any actual employees. And so first hire was actually a fraternity buddy who was much younger than me. I was the alumni treasurer and he was the treasurer for the chapter. And it was a safety net hire. He needed something to do after school, didn't like what he was doing. I needed somebody I could trust because I basically opened up my entire life, my wallet. I mean, it was just, I had to trust somebody, and I'd never done that. So it wasn't a good fit. Will didn't like doing it, and didn't want to do certain pieces. But again, it was a full trust, and it was a change for me, and it was a change for him. So we did it for a year, and both decided that it was not a good fit. But it was very amicable because he's still a good friend to this day, and it was a it was a big adjustment. That first hire was awful. Just because you don't know what you're getting into, you really don't know what your expectations are. And second hire was okay, and then ended up being Curvin, and we had a good about 6.5 year run. And then Curvin just wanted to try something different, which is understandable. We all go through those, and yeah, it's my least favorite part of a small business owner is the hire fire part.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, so how has the real estate market in Des Moines evolved from when you first started doing this many, many moons ago to now? What have you seen? What changes have you seen? I mean, what cities are now cities that previously were small towns?
Yeah, man, that's the fun one. I grew up in Waukee when it was very small. We graduated with 69 kids in my class, and mom hated driving through the cornfields to get into Des Moines. And I lived by Waveland, my sister lives by Grandview, so that's not where she would have wanted to drive. Um, it's a little bit exciting, a little bit sad, just because it's the price points are so much higher. I mean, everything's gone up, but we're not a small town anymore, and the desire to be here because of all the amenities Des Moines and the metro and Iowa has overall is impressive. So that's really cool that we're part of it, and the cost of living is still low compared to other places, but it's not like when I started. I mean, you could buy a house for 60, 70 that was in decent shape, and our first time home buyers were 90 to 120 for home prices, and they were plentiful. So that part I really struggle with now. I mean, but that's a national thing too. We have expensive homes, but our taste is more expensive. My first home was four walls. That was ugly. It was safe. It was dry, but it was ugly. And so the expectation was you make it your own, and we don't always have that anymore now. I kind of want it turnkey when buyers are buying their first house, and that is a lot more expensive.
So your dad was kind of the reason that you got into real estate in a sense because he was
Yep.
banking and you got in there. Um, is there anything that comes to mind as far as lessons that he taught you way back in the day that you still kind of carry around to this day that have anything to do with your professional or even personal life that are prevalent?
100%. Yeah, no, 100%. I always grew up with rentals too. So he had rental property in Waukee, and I think between business and personal, and I think rental's kind of halfway between. Um, Everything was taught to me to where you can't always make everybody happy, but it's you got to communicate, you got to be timely, and you got to be able to tell people no and why, not just no and you don't call them back again. Because in a small town, when my dad would lend to people, you saw him at the coffee shop, you saw him at the hardware store, and if you just didn't tell somebody no and ghost them like you do these days. That is not the small town mentality, and so having that balance of he told people no that were in my class or their parents, and you have to keep those relationships going. So he always taught me if you can tell somebody no and help them find a path to get where they want to go, and you can maintain that relationship and they'll want to do business with you later, then really you've got a win-win because you're bettering the community even though you couldn't tell them yes for what they wanted. And yes isn't always the right answer. You just want to get there with the right details so that way when it is a yes, it's a successful yes for the institution, the community, and the individuals. And I take that on personal and business because that's why I had a good portfolio of rentals for a long time because they respected the landlord enough that I got paid. Our collection rate was fairly high, and I not everybody wants to be friends with their tenants, but you got to build enough respect in all aspects.
Yeah. So sticking along the same lines with family, how do you include your kids and your wife in your business now and pass on that same lesson to them?
That's an interesting one because with the rentals and anything here at the office and just even the community involvement stuff, it's really just inviting them to be there. I think that's the biggest thing is we think we've got to have a specific thing to train somebody, kids or even adults. It's like we don't need a necessarily big task. You can go mow the lawn, pick up the trash, meet them to say hello. How are you doing? Is there anything wrong with your unit? Same thing with work. I mean, I think you and I have the most fun when we're not technically working. We get to socialize, and if you like volleyball or you like golf, and you get to bring work into that. I like bringing work into my personal space because it's fun. You get to help the people around you. I'm proud of what we do, and you do the same way. I don't want people to not know what I do because I'm not proud of it. We do what the company says. We make money, and we just be quiet about it. That's nothing like what we do. Like everything we do is we want to see you at the hardware store. We want to see your success. We want to see if you're failing. And at that point, if you are, how can we help? So involving the kids, involving Jenny, and having them see the people that we work with and just participate however possible. I need to get them in here to clean my office.
True, true.
It is true. There's a lot of stuff. But yeah, I like the involvement that way. Then they just get to see what's there and hopefully they get a good taste in their mouth. So if it's not mortgage lending, they do, but they still see the relationship side and how you can be a positive coworker, not just, friend next door, but you help your coworker. And with the charity stuff we do, involving them in, walks or bagging
Yeah,
goods or whatever the case may be.
yeah. Yeah, I think about all the different hobbies that you have, and I think about the hobbies that I really don't have a ton of hobbies right now. And I started thinking about how you are obviously in a different phase of life. Your kids are a little bit older. You've been in the mortgage industry now for over 20 years. I've been in for five, six, I guess, or excuse me, six here, 11 in total, I guess, if I really think about it.
You're getting old
Uh,
too.
but I look at that and I say, you've got your hobbies, you got golf, and you've got the community. And how did you start to, be more persistent on doing your hobbies to, give yourself some time? Because I think I strap myself to my desk and I work away and I look over and you went out for league and you go play golf or whatever.
That's a hard one. 'Cause, I mean, you're at the phase that you didn't see me in the business at that phase,
Mhm. Right.
and I mean, I didn't golf for almost 8 years, and I golfed in college and all through. I mean, I've been golfing since I was six, and so 8 years off, I may have played one or two charity tournaments, but I don't. That doesn't count as golfing. That counts as getting out twice. you just have to. It's that phase. You have to dedicate the time where you have to do it, and taking care of the kids and taking your fair share of what's there, and then bust and hump at work to support the family and vacations and what you want to do. You're getting close because the kids are getting a little bit easier.
Yep.
We can say that we can leave our wives once in a while and they don't go, ha ha, come home fast. Um,
True.
that makes it a lot easier. But then you just have to dedicate that time. And I've got to get now to where I involve the kids more because they want to be doing their things, which I don't always agree with what they're doing as being positive, and getting them excited about doing something else that hopefully will grow what they like as hobbies. But it's just taking the time and blocking it, and it's hard.
Yeah. So, what's the vision for the future? And a two-part question here. If money was no option, how would you structure our team going forward?
If money is no option, um, I would really like a little bit different support staff setup, and I think that's something that it's just a moving target. We're getting closer to where we can be more definitive because hiring somebody with a vague definition is very hard. We've done that and we're doing that just because we all have job duties that keep changing. If we can get some stability, getting to where the loan officers are at their desk half of the time. And that way they're out. I mean, you're doing a good job with more meetings out. Um, I personally get a decent amount of business when I do go out and do extracurriculars. If I'm golfing, if I'm doing charity work, if I'm going fishing with buddies who love to fish. I'm not a great fisherman, but if they want to go, I want to hang out with them. And then you talk shop. There's downtime fishing.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have that. They're going to want that new boat. We can help them figure out how their finances can work. Uh, I think there's a lot of ways that you can enjoy your personal and push more time and bring the business into the personal stuff, knowing that you're doing things that you love anyway. That way, we're better effective with our time. And at that point, then when we're in the office, we can help our support staff so they don't feel left high and dry. And it's a win-win for all sides. But that, if money was no object, that one I don't know. I don't think money is going to be what gets the best results when you have the team in place. Everybody wants to make money, but that's not why they work. They typically work because of something they enjoy, and you are having a positive influence on your surroundings, on your customer base, on whatever the situation is. So I don't
Yeah,
think infinite money does as much.
I was gonna say I drove by the billboard this morning that the lotto is up to like 201 million or something, and I thought, if I won that, of course you immediately start thinking about all the taxes you got to pay, and then you figure out, okay, I could probably end up with, I don't know, 140 million or so, and what would I do though? I mean,
Ooh,
I'd be bored if I just sat around and had all this money and I wouldn't want to share it with all my friends because, well, maybe I would. I don't know. Then I'd have more friends to go do stuff with. I don't know.
I think we'd actually do more private lending. I mean, there's been some opportunities that I legally can't figure out because you have a lot of these checking to cash and payday loans and really crappy places that are going to help fix you because they give you money right away. Well, that's not fixing something. That's a band-aid. And usually it's not even a very good band-aid. If you get in that cycle of really expensive debt, it's hard to get out of it. And we've had really good luck with the resources and partners that we have to help people get better debt. All right, fix the auto loan, fix the personal loan, fix the credit cards, and make small steps. I would love to see something like the check into cash, but with a way out.
Yeah.
Not all profit minded. I mean, you have to be profitable, but they're so expensive and they have so many losses. That's why they've got to be so expensive because they lend out money that they're not going to get back. I would love to see where we could lend out money, have much smaller losses, so you're not having to charge as much, and we can help fix some of the problems that regulation makes it very difficult to do, and business models for the companies that are already out there make it very difficult to do because they're not necessarily community focused and looking for people to be successful. They're looking at how to make the most money. I'm a better believer in you help get people where they need to go and do the right thing, and you will make your fair share. Versus trying to price, if I do this, I can make this. I don't like that avenue.
Sounds like we should start up a nonprofit when we have all this extra free time, and we could just, start funding, getting some grants, and doing that. I like that. It's a great
I
idea.
know somebody who's had some experience with that.
All right.
He's kind of tall.
Quick picks. Hopping in right to the next segment here. I want to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. If you want to expand upon it, you can as well. Coffee or tea?
Both. I love coffee, but I really should drink more tea.
I feel like you drink more tea than coffee.
I'm on a bad kick of coffee right now because it's been accessible. I'm with what's available. I like to sip on hot things, but I love tea, especially different varieties. Always fun to try something new, but coffee's a great go-to.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
What time do you get up in the morning?
Not as early as you. Uh, so I usually get up about 6:15, so not super early, but when I'm up, give me 15, 20 minutes, I'm ready. And at that point, it's go time.
Beach vacation or mountain retreat?
I would say usually beach, but the mountain quiet and the hikes in the woods, big fan of that too. But I'd say if I had the vacation given to me, I go beach first.
I would have totally figured you would have said mountain retreat because you're such a Boy Scout.
The bugs drive me absolutely crazy, and I don't like to put a bunch of bug spray on. So I do like
Fair.
the mountain stuff, but the beaches, I love swimming in the ocean or river or pond, whatever. The water's fun.
I know the answers to a few of these, but I got to bring them up for other people to hear. So, podcasts or audiobooks?
Um, Neither. I don't have a lot of downtime, so when I do drive, the podcasts have been nice. I've only had a couple audiobooks, but I'd prefer to read a book because it puts me to sleep. It's about 8 pages, and I go to sleep.
Favorite non-real estate book that you're reading or have read?
I like the Dan Brown, Steve Barry, and now whatever Child, the Reacher series.
Yeah, I kind of figured you were going Reacher.
Yep,
Classic cars or electric vehicles?
classic cars by far. I just need to redo the one that was mom and dad's first car together, and then my first car. It's got a lot that's needed. 72 Monte Carlo.
Is that your favorite car?
Not my favorite car, but my favorite car personally that I've owned.
What would be your favorite car?
I could go for a Chevelle, slightly shorter body style, very similar. I could even go for the right Mustang or the right Camaro. You get the late 60s, early 70s.
Favorite city to visit?
Very small town, DeFusky, South Carolina. Otherwise, I do enjoy New York for a couple days and Las Vegas for a couple days, but that's a lot. Quiet time would be DeFusky.
Home office or co-working space?
Co-working space. Home office is nice. I've got a good spot for it, but I feel guilty not doing my home things. I like to be at home to do my home and work to do my work.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint Oreo.
That's the worst one. Oh,
That just means you're not going to eat my ice cream.
it's true. Ooh, wow. I thought I knew you. Favorite TV show or movie about real estate?
The Big Short was good.
Yeah. You're not a love it or list it kind of guy?
Oh, it's too dramatic. They've got to have a little drama in there. It's fun to watch, but they drive me crazy with their comments, so I can only do so much.
The two math teachers that make 40,000 a year and they're buying a $7 million home. The drama right there.
Yeah, or the Tiny House Nation is fun for a little bit until we're really excited about 400 square feet, but I'm a hockey player and I've got 8 guitars. That takes 400 square feet.
Buying a fixer-upper or move-in ready home?
Fixer upper. If money's no end, then maybe buy it done. But otherwise, I like to put my own touch on things, and yeah, fixer upper.
Favorite cocktail flavor or kind?
Um, Not very often, but martinis are fun. Otherwise, I just do whiskey on the rocks.
Networking events or online webinars?
Networking events by far.
Yeah, you're a social butterfly. Minimalist design or cozy interior?
I'd tell you minimalist, but that's never happened in my entire life. So cozy.
And last one, favorite way to celebrate a successful transaction?
Uh, you know, seeing people smile and getting to be at closings is fun. And little rewards. We stop by and get a Starbucks or small coffee shop special fun coffee. Those are always nice. That's a good easy reward. But seeing people smile is a good reward.
I don't know, the office parties that we have on Fridays every once in a while, those are kind of worth it too, you know?
Those are awesome. Yeah, any day where we can just cut out like 30 minutes early, lock the doors, and just have a happy hour in the office. It is nice. I love our coworkers. I mean, that is fun.
And I'm not really a huge Coors Light guy, but when Chuck's buying, I can't say no. It tastes better for some reason. I've never understood that. Free beers always taste better.
Just like when someone's going to cook you a meal, it may not be your favorite meal, but you didn't have to do it and do the dishes, and that actually tastes pretty good.
Shout out to my wife on that one. She cooks all the time and it's amazing. So, yes. All right, trending topic. So, given that we've seen a change in the industry recently with buyers being required to sign an agency agreement before they can get in to see the house, how do you think we should adjust our talk track as lenders to set agents up for success? And how, if at all, do you see this impacting the Des Moines and surrounding markets?
Um, Even a precursor to both of those, I think this is a lot of unnecessary hype. Um, we deal with full disclosure and have dealt with full disclosure for many years. We went through a very similar piece. All it did is make more pages and confuse people for a long time. And then once it panned out, it is no different. I would say this is absolutely no different, other than we have to get the perceptions right. The perception is that I'm paying too much for something, I should do it myself. And I would tell you 110% every time, if you're qualified to do it and you hire someone, then you probably did pay too much. But if you're not qualified to do it, then that's when we hire people. Plumbers don't hire plumbers. Mortgage people, even on mine, I mean, we can't do our own loan, but at the same time, we know what we're doing. I'd tell you, we still get a lot of emotion involved. And then emotion gets in, and now you don't know what you're doing because there's something staring at you in the face and you're looking at something else. I think we just have to make sure everyone's on the same page and we help the agents explain it well. Some of them are doing a great job. Some of them are tongue tied. They're just not used to it or they don't know how to get that done. And that's the same as anything. So if we can help buyers and sellers know what's there, I'm treating everything like a for sale by owner. People think they don't want to pay for it, but they also haven't been explained enough to where, oh, well, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that. And you could get yourself in really hot water if you're not doing something legally and if you completely miss something. I mean, we highly suggest people get home inspections. If you don't, you take the risk of what's wrong. I'd rather someone invest $400 in something and know that there's a $10,000 problem. That's no different than the agents. I mean, it's insurance too. You buy insurance because you're not willing to cover the risk. If you want to cover it, do it yourself. But just most people, when you get it explained to them, don't realize what they're getting for their dollar. And once they do, then they realize, maybe what they heard on the news or heard on their social media feed is bad information coming from well-intended people.
You got me now thinking about that $200 million dollars that I'm going to win with the lottery. I still haven't played yet, but when I do, then I can self-insure. I don't have to worry about it, right?
You can.
But no. But with
Well, but I mean,
this,
you may choose not to, though. Imagine at that point, you win that money, but you have a $1 million house. Do you want to liquidate your investments that's making you money every month, or do you pay the insurance? Because if you spend your own money or don't spend your own money, there's a cost to that as well. And that's the thing. There's a cost no matter what. You just need to know, do I want it out of my left hand or my right hand? You're paying for it one way or the other.
and I think along the tracks of this agency agreement, I think part of it, what we've discussed here in the office, is just having conversations with those buyers as they get pre-approved and making sure that they understand what's coming, right? We want to make sure that because oftentimes they get sent over to us to get pre-approved before a customer will go out and start looking for a house, or maybe they've gotten a referral to us, whatever. But typically they're talking to us before they go start looking at homes. And so we want to make sure that, as an agent, they're hearing from their lender, the buyer has already been informed that they're going to have to sign an agency agreement with you before they can go in and start looking at homes, just to make that process a whole lot easier for when you first meet with them and you go out and you start showing houses. You have to have them sign that form. They're going to say, oh yeah, Charlie's already told me about this. Kyle's already talked to me about this form. No big deal. We sign it. It's just like with our loan disclosures and stuff. I mean, going through those with people, they're signing stuff and they're like, well, what's this? Okay, I can explain it to you. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just more pages. And, we used to not have this one form. The most recent form we got in our disclosure package, it went from 41 to 42 signatures on the darn thing. And one of them was, well, we used to be able to only pull your taxes from the IRS and we could view them just based on the assumption. But then we got another form that says, now we can view them. So we got to have the authorization that we can view them. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's just another form, but we were already doing it. It's the exact same thing. It's a form, but we were already doing this within the real estate market. You were already signing an agency agreement once you wrote your offer, or maybe right before, or maybe you said, you know what, Charlie, I really like working with you and I'm going to sign this. And the next 3 months, if we find a house, great. If not, we'll go our separate ways. We were already doing that. It's just now making it a little more awkward, but it's going to become second nature.
Yep. And again, I think a lot of people are horrible at explaining it. And you have a lot of people who aren't in the business. They have no reason to be talking about it, but they're talking about it. And they're influencers, or they've got enough of a following that just because you say it doesn't mean it's true. And so getting with good people. Every profession has people who are good in that profession and people who are not so good in that profession. And lending and real estate and insurance and financial advisors, it's no different. I mean, if you hire someone who's a complete ding dong, they don't know what they're doing, you're overpaying. If you hire someone who's giving you the value and showing you they're saving you money, they're getting you a better deal, they're going the extra mile, they're being available at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, or 6, 7, 8 in the morning. There's a lot of things you got to decide what you want. And that's where everything we do is open and clear. And with our calculator we give out, so many people just look at one thing. It's like, no, you have 6 or 7 things that we need to go through. Now, we can make it very summarized, but you've got to be aware of it. You may not realize in the beginning what it meant, and then you have a scenario come up. You're like, oh, that's what that means. Oh, you already have it in there. Oh, so that's not a surprise. Yay, it's the same. There's a learning curve, but that doesn't mean not telling someone about it until they need it. That's how a lot of people work. We don't. So you got to find the good real estate agents. You got to find the good lenders. You know what you're being told is the entire truth, not just little nuggets. And then you got to put the puzzle together later, and then it's hard, unattractive, frustrating. That's never good. You want a clean picture from the beginning and partners that are going to be helpful, knowledgeable, and open.
Well, thanks for joining today, Charlie. If anybody out there found anything interesting, if you learned something about Charlie you didn't know, maybe shoot him a text message or shoot him an email, or find him on Facebook or Instagram. Everything's under Team Chedester these days. You can reach out to him there. Otherwise, you can go to teamchedester.com. You can find our website there as well. It's I don't necessarily. You can drop your phone number if you want, Charlie, but I think everybody's already got it.
Yeah, if you look me up, it's easy, but 515-229-6564. And look forward to any conversation. It's always fun to catch up.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. And reminder, just subscribe, like, share this video, push it out, and we'll see you next time on The Lofty Lender.
Thanks for having me. See you, everybody.